Greeting, it's Terra Illumination again. 12th of September 2023. It goes on and on. Today has been a total shocker across the board as far as I'm concerned as an astrologer, and so I felt obliged to call things out as I see them. These are just my opinions, okay? And I advise you to do your own research. So that's my way of trying to, mitigate the risk of running a controversial YouTube channel. Anyway, we're moving on. I'll show you. Here again is the same chart I used in the other videos this morning. Here it is, 12th of September. There's the big fat T-square we've been talking about for a long time. This is a very personal thing with each individual here on Earth, and also in correlation to the elite globalists at the very, very top. There is a conflict of interest going on. Let's put it that way, mildly. So the next thing I want to focus on is the deep, deep tragedies that are happening in this country here. Okay, I talk about this a lot on my channel. I talk about China on my channel. Okay, so it just goes from bad to worse, and again, I correlate that with all the unhealthy expression. Of course, there's a healthy expression for Pisces, Saturn, and Neptune in the 12th house and all of that, but sadly, what we're seeing most of all is the unhealthy expressions. And in that regard, what I'm seeing are the classic ingredients: betrayal, lies, deception, theft, bribery, murder, crime, insanity, suicide, victimhood, rape, assault, financial abuse, personal abuse, child abuse, sex trafficking, child trafficking, all that kind of stuff, political lies, betrayal, and theft, already amounting to impeachment proceedings happening against Uncle Joe, Grandpa Joe. Let's just call him Grandpa Joe. Crooked Joe. Crooked Grandpa Joe. How about that? Anyway, let's go over here to China, because as you know, some of the globalists who operate from here and from here are doing everything they can to emulate the CCP model that operates over here. The beauty of the CCP model is that it's very powerful and effective as long as you can keep it going, but it always ends in failure. The extreme Marxist communist thug agenda it's starting to implode in real time in front of our very eyes. And it's getting very, very bad on the inside of China. Of course, very few people see that or hear that over here in the West. But it's very bad. It's much worse than anything you might be seeing on mainstream media. Okay? It's getting very, very hard for the CCP and Mr. Ping himself to activate his globalist agenda, which is to take over all of this, and this. It's pretty ambitious, and he actually thinks he can get away with it. But as he gets closer to trying to manifest his goals, it just gets worse and worse. So he's starting to look very bizarre and strange on the world stage as more and more people find out that he's at the actual country itself that he is leading. He's imploding in real time under his watch. So anyway, the latest very tragic, sad, catastrophic incidents happening over here they're totally unrelated to all the massive flooding and damage over here. Thousands, tens of thousands of people killed, hundreds of millions of dollars of damage, total cities destroyed. Anyway, so we've moved on from that already. That was just a few months ago, if that. The next thing is that over here in the western parts of China, way, way, way out in these desert regions, there are massive mineral resources, uranium, lithium, coal, all sorts of things out there which are very, very valuable hard asset commodities. Anyway, As you know, China does a huge amount of coal mining to keep their power systems going in order to do all the manufacturing that they do to feed the West and everywhere else in the world with our insatiable need for cheap Chinese goods. So what happens, the CCP says, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, no matter what. And what's happening now, it's being revealed that all these massive coal mines over here, they're astronomically huge, and they're all run on prison labor, as you can imagine. And it's getting to the point where the damage to Earth is so severe, because they don't really have any quality control or safety control mechanisms, that they had a massive implosion at one of the really big mines, and it sent up plumes and plumes of toxic material into the sky. And that material is blowing all over these parts of China over here. And the reason why people are even talking about it is because China's already very, very used to extreme pollution, air pollution, water pollution. But this is going to the next level. And why is that so? It's because a lot of very strange, unaccountable symptoms of sickness and disease have been occurring and exploding recently in millions of people all over here, and they can't figure out why. Well, they have figured it out, but they're not allowed to talk about it. What in fact is that along with all the coal dust and the pollution that comes from the coal mining and the burning of the coal, there is a lot of radioactive uranium. Okay? Radioactive uranium, and it's in the form of dust and microscopic particles that naturally occur in the coal that they're mining. But it's very difficult to extract the uranium from the coal, and for the immediate short-term needs, the coal is a must-have. So the way the mines are run is just screw it. Dig out that coal, dig it out, dig it out, dig it out, so we can burn it, because we need electricity. Okay? And as they do that, it's been happening for years, but it has recently exploded and escalated in terms of the volume of pollution. So what's happening is this radioactive uranium is spewing out, along with all the coal dust pollution that's not always happening anyway. That coal is also being burned. And a lot of those plants are in the far west, and then the air all blows over towards the east because there's the natural prevailing winds. And so people have been, they call it now, the government is calling it thunderstorm asthma. They're saying, oh, you've got severe asthma and severe breathing problems and you're choking, and thousands of people are lining up trying to get into hospitals because they can't breathe. And they've got asthma problems. And the government is saying, oh, you've got a classic case of thunderstorm asthma. In reality, what's happening is they're choking on the fumes already, but there's a secondary layer of sickness that's becoming more and more evident, and it equates with radiation poisoning. The symptoms are consistent with radiation poisoning. So they had to go back, and what they've discovered is that there's off-the-charts radiation coming out of the coal mines, coming out of the coal-fired burners from the power plants, and going into the air and being inhaled by the average Chinese citizen. Well, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to mix it up this time. We've got the shocking, chaotic upheavals in Earth right now, highly unpredictable in terms of where do they come from, what do they mean, what's happening right now, where's it all going, what does it mean in the future. Uranus in Taurus, retrograde. It's the revealing for the healing. Secondly, of course, the radiation pollution, radiation sickness, I am attributing to these 12th house energy we've talked about many times over here. And now the sun is shining full light on there. You've got to reveal it to heal it. The Virgo energy is, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to heal this stuff? I don't know. I have no idea, personally. And it's very harmonious here, the Virgo energy harmonious with the Taurus energy. It's like a very, very graceful, very, very valuable component to the revealing, so that there's no ambiguity here. It's very, very clear that healing is required because there's so much sickness and disease. So I just wanted to share that with you. Just another example of astrology at work, the way that Tarot Illumination does it, okay? So make of it what you will. You can do your own research. Seriously, do your own research or see any way you can validate this stuff. You don't have to take my word for any of this stuff. You might think I just make it all up out of my head because I'm some kind of psychic weirdo. No. I go to highly, highly credible, trustworthy sources. You should too. I highly recommend it. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and get the notification button.